Hey everybody, TacticAngel here, playing some World of Warships Legends on the PlayStation 4. This time we're here to talk about another premium ship, the Imperial Japanese Navy Pre-Dreadnought era battleship, the Mikasa. The format for this review is going to be a little bit different. As you can see, we're jumping right into the gameplay, and as we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can get the Mikasa. Right now, the Mikasa is free to PlayStation Plus members, in a way similar to how the Campbelltown was free to PlayStation Plus members a few months back. Eventually, the Campbelltown was made available as a purchasable ship in the store, costing $5 United States dollars. So maybe that'll be a thing that'll happen to this ship as well. But for right now, it is just part of a free bundle for PS Plus users. That bundle comes with 1 million units, 3 days of premium, and as the description puts it, a ton of Commander's XP, a lot of camouflage, and plenty of boosters. I'm not exactly sure how much those non-traditional measurements translate into the game, but if you're a PS Plus user, I highly suggest picking this up while it is available because there's no reason not to. So as for the Mikasa, I did say that she was a pre-Dreadnought, which means that she was built and launched before HMS Dreadnought, the ship that pretty much changed everything in terms of how battleships were conceptualized. The Mikasa was laid down in 1899 and launched in 1900, though she would not enter service for another 2 years. It's actually nice to see a ship like this in the game because it gives you a feel for what the design of pre-dreadnoughts often look like. In this case, the Mikasa is definitely not designed around the all big guns layout. She sports only 2 turrets, each mounting a pair of 12-inch guns. She has an additional secondary armament of 14 152mm guns and 18 76mm guns. In reality, she had an additional suite of 12 47mm guns and 4 torpedo tubes, which rounded out a tertiary defensive battery and gave the Mikasa some ability to at least theoretically strike enemies below the waterline. The tertiary armament is nevertheless modeled on the ship, and maybe the torpedo tubes as well, though they were submerged tubes, meaning you'll have to check that out if your ship rolls over upon sinking. The Mikasa was built for the Japanese by the Vickers Corporation in Barrow-in-Furness, England. She entered service in 1902 in time for the Russo-Japanese War, which lasted from 1904 until 1905. During this time, she served as the flagship for Admiral and naval legend Togo Haihachiro. She participated in the Battle of Port Arthur, shelling the coastal defenses until she was driven off by the Russian Navy. By the time that she engaged the Russians again at the Battle of the Yellow Sea, she was the lead ship, where she was focused pretty heavily by the Tsar's Navy. Hit several times, her rear gun turret was actually knocked out. The Mikasa was able to use her surprisingly superior speed to break contact in search of more favorable fighting conditions. When she did re-engage, the superior number of Russian ships meant that she continued to be shelled by multiple ships. The badly damaged Mikasa, and indeed the battle itself, was then saved by the Japanese pre-dreadnought Asahi, which unloaded a salvo into the Russian flagship Cesarevich, killing Admiral Vitkev, along with several others on the bridge, and jamming the ship into a turn to port. This confused the Russian Navy and allowed the Japanese to press its advantage until eventually both fleets would disengage. The Mikasa, though badly damaged, would return for the Battle of Tsushima, where the ship weathered another 4 dozen hits without really taking all that much damage. In fact, she took more damage from her own shells when one of them exploded prematurely inside the turret, disabling the turret for a time. Following the war, the Mikasa actually sunk due to a magazine explosion, but such was the Japanese condition that she could not be lost, so the Japanese refloated, repaired, refitted, and put her back into service. She served throughout World War I, though without any major actions worth talking about. She was still part of the Japanese fleet when the Washington Naval Treaty was signed. Though an excellent candidate to be scrapped at that point due to her age and obsolescence, the Japanese asked that she was allowed to be preserved. The other naval powers agreed, and her hull was encased in concrete. She can be visited to this day in Yokosuka, Japan, where she is the last surviving example of a pre-Dreadnought battleship in existence in all the world. Now, why have I been talking over this battle? Well, give me just a minute and I'll come to that. This ship is painfully bad in the game, and there really isn't that much you can do about it to make it better right now. She is classed as a cruiser in Legends, which is something that I hope the developers can change. With just 4 main battery guns, which you almost have to turn full broadside to use, you can't really get a lot of damage out of the main battery of the ship, in particular since the accuracy on them is so bad that even German battleships seem like Olympic-level marksmen by comparison. While you have a considerable complement of secondaries, they only have a 3-kilometer range, and there's really not much you can do about that either, unless you want to sail around with Nobutake Kondo as your commander in a cruiser. The ship only has 1 slot, and you can either choose between steering gears mod 1 or propulsion gears mod 1, a choice that really has little impact on the effectiveness of this ship. To add insult to injury, she only comes with 1 heal unless your captain has an ability that will increase the number of consumables you have. And for those of you who know how I like to play 20 or 30 games in a ship before bringing you a review, I can't say that I've done that here. I think I'm probably around a dozen games, maybe a few more than that, and what you're looking at might actually be the best I've ever done in it. The reason why I talked over this game about history is because the history of this ship is really just about the only reason to get her into your port. I'm going to hold on to her for now, but if you're looking for a recommendation, the only people I can really see wanting this ship are people who have a strong sense of national pride for it, or for the historic significance of this beautiful old boat. In any case, thank you everybody for listening. I'll see you guys on the next one.